Chapter 1. I was always the one catching up. I used to think love meant adjusting my steps. "Wait for me," I said once, half laughing as I struggled to keep up with him in the crowded street. He didn't stop. He just glanced back and said, "You walk too slow." I smiled like it was a joke, even though my chest felt tight. I learned early that if I wanted to stay beside him, I had to move faster. So I did. I skipped meals, rushed deadlines, bent my schedule around his life. I told myself that love was about compromise, even when I was the only one changing. That night, we ran into her. She stood under the streetlight, hair pulled back loosely, face pale like she hadn't slept well. His ex, the one he said was just someone from the past. "Are you okay?" he asked her immediately, his voice softer than I'd heard all day. She nodded weakly. "I'm a little tired." Without thinking, he slowed down. His pace changed so naturally it stunned me. He matched her steps, careful, patient, like he had all the time in the world. I fell behind. I watched him reach for a bottle of water from his bag. "Here, drink slowly." She smiled at him. "You always remember things like this." I waited for him to look back at me. He didn't. Something in my chest cracked quietly. When we finally parted ways, I said nothing until we were alone. My heart was pounding like it wanted answers before my mouth could. "You didn't even notice I wasn't beside you," I said. He sighed, already annoyed. "Why are you starting this now?" "I'm not starting anything," I replied. I was right there. And you?" "She's not feeling well," he interrupted. What was I supposed to do? Walk fast and leave her behind? The words hit harder than he realized. I swallowed. "You leave me behind all the time." He frowned. "That's different." "How?" He didn't answer right away. He rubbed his face and looked away. "You're overthinking again." I laughed softly, but it hurt. "Am I? Or am I just finally noticing?" "Not everything is about you," he said flatly. That sentence stayed with me longer than anything else he ever said. Later that night, I sat on the edge of my bed, replaying every moment I had rushed for him. Every time I told myself it was fine when he canceled plans. Every time I stayed quiet when he defended her too quickly. Every time I walked faster, talked less, asked for less. My phone buzzed. "Him. Don't be upset. You know I care about you." I stared at the message. If he cared, why did I always feel tired? I typed, deleted, typed again. "Do you think I ask for too much?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. "Him, you just need to be more understanding." I put the phone down. For the first time, I admitted the truth to myself. I wasn't walking too slow. I was walking alone, trying to catch up to someone who never planned to wait. And that night, lying in the dark, I wondered something that scared me more than losing him. What would happen if I stopped running? Chapter 2. The ex who never really left. Before continuing to the next chapter, please subscribe, like, and comment below. Which part shocked you the most? Let me know. I told myself she didn't matter. "She's in the past," he said once, scrolling through his phone while I sat beside him. "Why do you keep bringing her up?" "I don't," I replied. "She just keeps showing up." He laughed like I was being dramatic. "You're imagining things." But imagination doesn't explain late-night calls that made him step outside. It doesn't explain how his shoulders relaxed when her name appeared on his screen. It doesn't explain how his voice changed when he talked to her. Lower, slower, careful. That night, I finally asked, "Why does she still call you?" I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He didn't look at me. "She's going through a hard time." "So am I," I said. He sighed. "You're strong." "She's not." That sentence sat between us like a quiet confession. Every time she needed something, he showed up. Every time I needed reassurance, I was told to be patient. I learned to swallow my questions because every one of them made me look insecure. At dinner with friends, someone joked, "You're lucky. He's such a caring guy." I smiled, but my chest burned. Lucky people don't feel lonely sitting across from the person they love. One evening, I found a scarf in his car. Soft, familiar, not mine. "What's this?" I asked, holding it up. He froze for half a second. Just long enough. She must have left it, he said casually. Must have, I repeated. It's not a big deal, he snapped. Why are you always like this? Like what? Observant? Honest? Tired? I just want to understand where I stand, I said. You stand with me, he replied, impatient. Isn't that enough? I wanted to say no, but I nodded instead. Later, I met my friend for coffee. She watched me stir my drink without sipping. You look exhausted, she said. I'm fine. You say that every time you're not, she replied. Tell me the truth. I hesitated, then said quietly, I think I'm competing with someone who never left. She didn't even hesitate. Then you already lost. That's not fair, I said. I've been trying so hard. That's the problem, she said gently. Love isn't supposed to feel like a competition. I laughed bitterly. Then why does it feel like I'm always second? She leaned closer. Because he made you second. That night, I watched him text her from the corner of the room. Who are you talking to? I asked. He didn't look up. Does it matter? It did. It always did. I just want honesty, I said. He finally looked at me, irritation clear in his eyes. Why can't you trust me? I trust what I see, I replied. And what do you see? He challenged. I opened my mouth, then closed it. I saw someone who slowed down for her without thinking. I saw someone who rushed me without noticing. I saw someone who asked me to understand while never trying to understand me. I see someone who doesn't choose me first, I said softly. Silence. Then he laughed. You're being ridiculous. Maybe I was. Or maybe I was finally awake. That night, lying beside him, I realized something painful. His ex wasn't the problem. The problem was that he still walked like she mattered more. And I was the one pretending not to notice. If chapter 1 was the crack, this was the fracture. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And I was starting to see everything. Chapter 3. The question he couldn't answer. I didn't plan the question. It just came out. We were walking down the street, late evening, city lights soft around us. My feet were tired. My heart was heavier. He was walking ahead of me, not fast, not slow, just ahead, like always. I stopped. He didn't notice at first. Then he turned. Why did you stop? I stared at him and said the thing I had been holding inside for months. Why do you always slow down for her, but never for me? His face changed. Not anger, not confusion, fear. What? He said. You heard me, I replied. When she's with you, you walk gently. You listen. You wait. You adjust your pace. I stepped closer. With me, you walk ahead. You rush. You pull forward. You expect me to catch up. He scoffed. You're overthinking again. No, I said quietly. I'm finally thinking clearly. He looked away. This is ridiculous. Then answer it, I said. Why does she get softness and I get survival? Silence. The street noise filled the space between us. Cars, voices, footsteps, everything except his voice. I don't do that, he said finally. You do, I replied. I've watched it. You're imagining patterns, he snapped. I'm noticing behavior, I said. There's a difference. He ran a hand through his hair. You're making this complicated. I didn't make it complicated, I said. You made it unclear. He sighed. What do you want from me? Truth, I said immediately. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. You already have the truth. No, I replied. I have excuses. I have silence. I have avoidance. I took a breath. Do you still love her? The air changed. He didn't answer. Not yes, not no, just silence. And silence is an answer. My chest felt tight. So that's it, I whispered. That's why. He looked at me. It's not like that. Then what is it like? I asked. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like I'm the one trying to replace a memory. He raised his voice. You're being unfair. Am I? I said. Because I feel like I'm being honest. He looked tired, defensive, trapped. I chose you, he said. Then choose me now, I replied. Not later. Not after she's okay. Not after she's healed. Not after she's settled. Choose me first. He hesitated, just for a second. But that second destroyed everything. I can't just abandon her, he said. I nodded slowly. There it is. That's not what I meant, he said quickly. It's exactly what you meant, I replied. Because you never worry about abandoning me. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. My voice shook, but I kept going. I don't need to be chosen in comparison to someone else, I said. I need to be chosen without competition. You're making it an ultimatum, he said. No, I replied. I'm making it a boundary. He stared at me. So what? I'm supposed to erase my past? I'm asking you to stop living in it, I said. Silence again. Then he said quietly, I can't. And just like that, the truth landed. Not loud, not dramatic, not cruel, just honest. I felt something inside me go calm. Not broken, not angry, clear. I understand, I said. He looked surprised. You do? Yes, I replied. You're not a bad person. You're just not my person. He frowned. What does that mean? It means I'm tired of chasing someone who's walking in another direction. I stepped back. I'm done trying to catch up to a love that isn't waiting for me. He looked shaken. You're leaving. I shook my head. No, I'm stopping. There's a difference. I turned and walked away. Slow. Steady. For the first time, I didn't rush. For the first time, I didn't look back. And for the first time, I realized something powerful. I wasn't losing him. I was choosing myself. Chapter 4. The way he looked at her, I didn't expect to see her again so soon. I was at the cafe near my office. The one he used to say was too crowded. When the door opened and the noise dipped for half a second, I felt it before I saw it. Then I looked up. She was standing there. The ex. Still familiar. Still soft around the edges. Still carrying herself like the world owed her gentleness. And behind her, him. My chest tightened, but I didn't move. They hadn't seen me yet. She laughed at something he said. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was light. Easy. He leaned closer to hear her better. He slowed his steps to match hers. I noticed everything. The way he tilted his head when she spoke. The way his shoulders relaxed. The way his voice dropped. Softer than I'd ever heard it with me. So this was what I had been competing with. Not her. But the version of him I never got. She touched his arm. You always know how to calm me down. He smiled. You always overthink. The words hit me like a slap. Those were my words. My moments. My complaints. Recycled. I stood up before they noticed me. My legs felt steady. My heart didn't. Too late. He saw me. His face froze. Her eyes followed his gaze and landed on me. Curious. Measuring. Oh, she said. Is that? Yes, he said too quickly. That's her. Her lips curved into a polite smile. You didn't tell me you'd be here. I didn't know, he replied. I walked over anyway. Hi, I said calm. I didn't mean to interrupt. She stood straighter. I'm sorry. Do we know each other? No, I said. But we share memories. He flinched. She glanced at him. What does she mean? Nothing, he said. She's just upset. I laughed quietly. See? That's the problem. I'm never upset. I'm observant. She studied me now. Are you two together? I answered before he could. We were. Her eyebrows lifted. Were. He swallowed. It's complicated. It's not, I said. He just never learned how to let go. Silence stretched. She turned to him. Is that true? He didn't answer right away. That pause again. That same pause. Her smile faded. You told me you were free. I am, he said. You just what? She asked. I stepped back. I'll leave you two to figure out which lie you prefer. He reached for my wrist. Wait. I pulled away gently. Don't. She watched us, eyes sharp now. Do you still love her? She asked him. I almost smiled, because now it wasn't my question anymore. He looked at me, then at her, then at the floor. I don't know, he said. And just like that, I won without saying another word. She let go of his arm. Slowly, deliberately. I won't compete, she said. Not again. She picked up her bag and walked past me. She didn't look angry. She looked tired. He stood there, alone, confusion finally cracking his confidence. You didn't have to do that, he said to me. I didn't do anything, I replied. I just stood still. He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. But it was too late. I hope you figure out what you want, I said. Then I added softly, just don't chase me when you do. I walked out of the cafe. This time, the door closed behind me. And for once, I didn't feel left behind. Chapter 5. The frame where I walk away the city felt colder than usual that night. I walked without thinking. My steps slow, my thoughts loud. Every street looked familiar, yet none of them felt like home. His words from earlier kept circling in my head, sharp and unfinished. You're overreacting. That was what he had said. I stopped at a crosswalk and waited for the light to change. Cars rushed past, spraying water onto the pavement. I watched couples walk by, their hands brushing, their pace matched. I used to walk like that with him. I used to slow down for him. He never slowed for me. My phone vibrated. His name lit up the screen. I answered. Where are you? He asked. Out, I said. You left without saying anything. I exhaled slowly. I've been leaving quietly for a long time. That's not fair, he replied. You didn't give me a chance to explain. You've had years, I said. You just never needed to use them. There was a pause. I could almost picture him rubbing his forehead. Frustrated, confused. Not because he missed me, but because things were no longer under his control. You're being dramatic, he said. I looked up at the traffic light turning green. I'm being honest. I never meant to hurt you. I know, I replied. That's what makes it worse. Silence stretched between us. Then he said, So what do you want from me? I crossed the street slowly. Nothing. That's not an answer. It's the first real one I've ever given you. His voice hardened. You'll regret this. I stopped walking. No, I said calmly. I regret staying. Another long pause. You're really done, he said. Yes. I hung up before he could respond. The street was quiet now. The wind brushed against my face, cool and steady. For the first time, my chest didn't feel tight. There was no anger, no rush to explain myself. Just clarity. I wasn't walking away to punish him. I was walking away to save myself. And this time, I didn't look back. Chapter 6. The silence that changed everything the first morning after I stopped chasing him. I wake up without the familiar weight of anticipation. The bed feels too big, but not in the way I expected. There's a strange lightness. For years, my world revolved around keeping pace. Adjusting my thoughts, my time, even my laughter to match his. Now, for the first time, I move unhurriedly. I drink my coffee slowly, watch the steam curl in the winter sunlight, and notice how quiet the apartment feels when I am not waiting for a message that never comes. I throw myself into small routines that had long been abandoned. The yoga mat by the window, dusty and forgotten, suddenly becomes a friend again. I start cooking meals that aren't designed to impress anyone, just to taste something I enjoy. On my walk to the office, I don't glance at my phone every 2 minutes. The world feels unhurried in a way I've never allowed myself to feel. Colleague asks if I'm okay. I laugh softly, almost surprised by my own calm. Better than okay, I say, meaning it, and for the first time, I notice the subtle smile that comes naturally now, unprompted by anyone else. My mind wanders to him briefly, fleetingly, but it isn't sharp, isn't anxious. It's curiosity, almost academic. How will he react when I am gone? Will he even notice? He does. The first message lands mid-afternoon. Short, hesitant. Hey, did I do something wrong? I blink at the screen. My thumb hovers over reply, but I don't rush. I set the phone down and let it sit. Minutes pass. Then another, "Where did you go?" The irony isn't lost on me. For years, I bent myself into the shape he demanded, silently absorbing his speed, his pauses, his moods, and he barely saw me. Now silence is the armor, and suddenly he notices. I sip my tea, feeling the warmth seep in like a quiet victory. I don't reply. I let the messages sit, growing more urgent and then more confused. "I don't understand. Are you mad? Did I do something?" It would be easy to feel a surge of satisfaction. He finally feels the absence I have lived with, but instead, I feel free. I am no longer tethered to his timeline. I am allowed to think my own thoughts, to feel my own emotions, to breathe without accounting for his pace. A friend calls in the evening. Her voice is warm, casual, unknowing of the small revolution I'm living quietly. We laugh about trivial things. Movies, coworkers, the absurdity of online trends, and for the first time in years my laughter isn't filtered, isn't paused for his approval. By nightfall, I scroll through my phone. Not his messages, but articles, recipes, personal projects. I find myself making plans that aren't contingent on anyone else, and I feel a soft, steady pride settle in my chest. The weight of always trying, always explaining, always running behind. It's gone. I glance at the messages again. "Please tell me I didn't lose you." I set the phone aside. The message will stay unread for now, because for the first time the power of pause is mine. Silence isn't emptiness. It's a choice. And with it, I am learning that the world can move at my speed or not at all, and I will still be enough. I go to bed that night without the familiar ache of waiting. The apartment is quiet, but it feels full. Full of possibilities, of self-respect, of space to exist on my own terms. I close my eyes, and the last thought before sleep is simple. I walked away, not in anger, not in drama, but in calm, in clarity, in truth. And that silence is the first thing that ever truly belonged to me. Chapter 7. He finally looked back. The first message I actually opened comes 2 days later. My finger hovers over the screen, and I almost laugh at the absurdity of the power dynamic. For years, I waited. Now he waits or thinks he does. "I didn't realize. I didn't know you felt that way. Are you okay?" I read it twice. The words are careful, hesitant, dripping with guilt, or what he thinks guilt should sound like. I don't reply. Instead, I let the silence stretch. It is no longer desperation. It is a test, though not of him. It is a test of myself, of how far I have come. Later, another message. "I've made mistakes. I should have noticed sooner. Can we talk?" I exhale slowly. I remember the nights I begged for this kind of acknowledgement, the countless times I tried to make him see without demanding. And now, after all my quiet leaving, he is the one reaching. When he finally calls, I pick up because I want to hear him, not because I need him. His voice is cautious, soft, a mix of regret and uncertainty. I didn't understand," he begins. "I thought you were fine. I thought you were, handling it. Why didn't you tell me?" I feel the familiar tug of old impulses, the urge to explain, to justify, to smooth over the cracks he caused. But I stop. I breathe. I let the silence speak instead. "I told you," I say finally, calm and measured. "But you didn't listen. I stopped telling you because I realized you weren't listening in the first place." There's a pause on the line. Then, quietly, defensively, "I didn't know it was that serious. I didn't think you felt—" "I felt everything," I interrupt gently. "And I still do. But I stopped waiting for you to meet me halfway. That's not my burden anymore." His tone shifts, caught somewhere between regret and frustration, as if he is trying to process the loss he brought upon himself. "I never meant to hurt you. I don't answer. Because words can't undo years of imbalance. And because I've realized something crucial. His regret isn't about losing me. It's about losing control." The conversation ends shortly after. No promises, no pleading, no desperate attempts to patch things up. I hang up and feel the strange, sweet weight of peace. I've given him nothing to cling to, because I no longer belong to anyone else's timeline. That night, I write in my journal. He finally looked back, but it's not mine to guide him. I am here, whole, moving forward, and that is the victory. For the first time, I understand the power of leaving quietly, the strength of calm boundaries, the liberation of choosing myself without chaos, without drama. He reached out, but I am no longer the person who waits. And in that moment, I smile, because even if he never truly understands, I finally do. Chapter 8. The life I built without waiting. Morning light spills across my apartment, warm and unapologetic. I make coffee not for anyone else but for me. The small rituals, the smell of freshly brewed beans, the steam curling over my mug, the quiet hum of the city waking outside, feel like little victories I never allowed myself to notice before. I walk to work with a pace that is entirely my own. No glances at a screen to anticipate his mood. No adjusting my steps to match someone else's. Just me, my thoughts, my rhythm. The world doesn't need to wait for me, and I certainly don't need to wait for it. At the office, colleagues notice the change. I no longer apologize for being assertive. I no longer soften my words to avoid conflict. I lead with clarity, and slowly the respect follows. One coworker whispers to another, "She's different now." And yes, I am. I am deliberate, focused, untethered. Evenings are mine. I take yoga classes, try new recipes, explore books I never had time for. And slowly, I open myself to the idea of connection. Not dependence, not chasing, but companionship. It is in one of these quiet evenings at a small art exhibit that I meet him. Not him, the ex, but someone new. He is calm, unhurried, attentive in a way that doesn't demand anything from me. Our conversation flows like a gentle current, not a storm. He listens, laughs at my jokes, respects the pauses. There is no comparison, no shadow of the past. Just the ease of two people walking side by side, neither ahead, neither behind. I notice, too, how the world around me mirrors my inner shift. Invitations come more easily. People engage differently. Even gossip about me, whispers about how I've changed, don't sting. They are irrelevant because I no longer define myself through anyone else's perception. And yet, from time to time, I catch glimpses of him. A mutual friend mentions he asked about me. Or I see him briefly in a crowd, eyes narrowing, unsure. But I do not stop. I do not run. I continue in the path I've carved for myself, grounded, confident, untouchable in the way freedom feels. In these moments, I realize the deepest contrast. My past life was a marathon I ran alone, chasing someone who never looked back. This life, this one, is a walk shared with someone who sees me, who matches my steps, who values the pace we choose together. And the comparison is unnecessary, because I am not running anymore. I am living. That night, I sit by my window, city lights flickering like a distant constellation. I reflect on how far I've come. Not because someone noticed, not because someone chased me, but because I finally noticed myself. Because I finally allowed myself to matter. For the first time, I understand what it truly means to step into a life fully my own. I am not defined by past mistakes, by his absence, or by the love I once begged for. I am defined by this confidence, clarity, joy, and the quiet power of choosing me first. And in that quiet, calm evening, I know he can watch from afar, wonder, regret, or try to reach me. It no longer matters. I am walking forward, unafraid, unstoppable, and completely free. Chapter 9. He never caught up again. The last time I see him, it's quiet. There's no dramatic confrontation, no shouting, no desperate pleas. He looks at me, really looks, and for the first time, I see something like understanding flicker in his eyes, followed by a shadow of regret. I should have noticed sooner, he says, voice low, almost pleading. I took you for granted. I pause. The old me would have rushed to explain, to defend, to justify. But that person doesn't exist anymore. I take a breath and speak clearly, calmly. I stopped waiting. His shoulders slump. There's a long silence. I let it stretch. because it is enough. It is all that needs to be said. I thought maybe I could fix it, he murmurs, his words weighted with what could have been. I've already fixed myself, I reply, a soft certainty in my tone. I don't need anyone else to validate me, not even you. For a moment, he looks as if he wants to argue, to twist the story back in his favor. But I don't give him the chance. I don't beg for apology. I don't linger in the past. I step forward, feeling the solid ground beneath my feet, feeling my own strength, my own pace. And as I walk away, something remarkable happens. I realize that the greatest revenge isn't anger. It isn't proving him wrong. It isn't watching him regret what he lost. The greatest revenge is choosing yourself. I don't look back. I don't need to. He watches, maybe understanding, maybe not, but it no longer matters. I am fully present in my own life. The pace is mine to set, the path mine to follow. And for the first time, the world feels aligned with who I am, not who I was trying to please. I step onto the street, sunlight on my face, the city moving around me, unhurried, and I finally smile. I am enough. I am free. And the truth settles in, quiet but absolute. The only person I was ever meant to catch up to was myself. And I did.